Hello, hello, all. Welcome to this episode of the Kpop podcast, where we're going to be discussing comebacks and debuts. This is actually one episode that I had to split into two for time's sakes, because I don't want to keep you all listening for hours and hours. The first one is centered around BTS and talking a little bit about Stray Kids, BTS mainly, and the military and their comeback that will be occurring this year. In this episode, we're mainly going to be discussing Bigbang and their comeback, as well as the new Hybe Girl Group and the controversy that surrounds the group before they've even debuted. I want to apologize for the previous podcast's audio quality and the quality of this one. I'm not quite sure what happened with the audio, but I will make sure that the next podcast episodes upcoming and the TikTok or video that I'm currently working on will have the correct quality of audio. So I apologize, please bear with me, and this will definitely be clarified in the next episode. So let's get on with this podcast. I hope you enjoy it. First up, I think the biggest news of this month has probably been Bigbang's much awaited, I guess it's a comeback. I'm not sure if you call it a comeback, if it's just a single, but Bigbang, one of my beloved groups, probably other than Super Junior at the time, Bigbang was the second most important group to me and my entry into K-pop, so they mean a lot to me. And they had a comeback, obviously excluding their Mangne, Seungri, because of his scandal and everything that's gone on with him. But in terms of the comeback itself, it was melancholy, nostalgic. I mean, if you watch people's reactions to the song, especially those who are diehard or those who have been Bigbang fans for a long time, everyone gets very emotional listening to this song. There's a lot of emotion put into this song. The lyrics are meaningful, the rap is meaningful, and just seeing these figures, it's almost like seeing the Avengers, the way it's seeing these members come together. I'm not sure if this song is really like a hello or a goodbye to the fans. It could so easily be one or the other, and I think they did that on purpose. But it was just a wonderful song illustrating the different seasons, and so the members played their role in the different seasons, different aesthetics for the different seasons, and it was just overall a really lovely song. And I really enjoyed the little fan chant in the middle, the la la la's, really nice. And I noticed that that's a signature touch of G-Dragon's music. He usually has a chorus chanting in his music. But in terms of the song overall, I mean, personally, business-wise, I would say that this is a song that's part of an album. I do think that Bigbang are going to have a comeback. It's 50-50. It's either this is genuinely a goodbye song, since Top has now left YG Entertainment, but he did say that he is still part of Bigbang, which is a bit confusing, but could mean that it leaves the door open for a comeback. What I'm trying to get at is it's been years and there is no way that especially G-Dragon has not been making music this whole time. So I think he's got like a whole backlog plethora of music. It will either be that it's Bigbang music he's been making, or option two, okay, the song has been released for Bigbang. It could be a goodbye song, but then we will get a G-Dragon comeback this year then, like a solo comeback, solo album. If you've noticed, GD has been a little bit more active on social media and just publicly. He took a picture with Treasure recently and some other people. Like, he never shows his face. So the fact that he's kind of been a little bit out and about more, to me, signals that he's starting to get back into working again and being in the public eye in terms of being musical again. So I'm going to bank on either Bigbang album is coming out this year, which is what I'm really hoping for, because my goodness, I forgot how good the vocals are. I mean, Taeyang especially, what a voice. I think stay tuned for either a G-Dragon comeback solo album or a Bigbang album. And I would like to add, just before I move on, Bigbang are so important because I think people forget where BTS got their influence from. And absolutely, BTS have been huge Bigbang fans and they haven't made that a secret. And they've been so greatly influenced by the way Bigbang write their own raps, self-compose, the artistry that they put in their music videos, especially G-Dragon. But I know that the recent Bigbang music has always had a lot of clues and art in it in each music video to give fans things to ponder on with each music video, and everything has a meaning, and everything placed in their music videos has a meaning. I think BTS definitely learnt from that, especially in their older music videos, you know, starting from Blood, Sweat and Tears onwards. And I think it's G-Dragon or Bigbang specifically that influenced that. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was the new Hybe Girl Group. I believe they're called LESSERAFIM. They're set up for a May debut, which actually will coincide with TXT's comeback as well, which also I'm very much looking forward to. I can't wait for TXT to come back. I can't wait to see the concept photos, and I do hope that they continue down this kind of gothic raw emo vibe. I'm really enjoying it. But TXT are also actually very good at doing kind of light-hearted, cute music as well, just because they have such vocal talent. So I'm fine either way, but I would prefer a darker concept. But anyways, so this girl group, their comeback is going to coincide with TXT's, and they're called LESSERAFIM. They did get into a little bit of controversy because Hybe, basically people have been complaining that with the concept photos and videos that these members have been, especially the underage members, because there are 2 underage members, I believe. There's one who's 16 years old and one who's 17. The 16-year-old is called Unche, she's the youngest member. And then there's another one called Kim Garam. Oh, she appeared in Hypen's Drunk Days music video, Garam. She's the girl in the Drunk Days music video. I mean, they usually do that in K-pop. If you actually see a lot of the extras, people in the background, or like if they use women or use men in these videos, they're usually trainees that are waiting to get debuted, which is quite interesting because I remember watching Stray Kids' Backdoor music video and seeing there were quite a few girls in hoodies in the background, and I just thought those are definitely trainees, like a trainee girl group waiting to debut. I wonder if they are actually girls who were in that NMIX, the new JYP girl group. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, so the Sserafim have been under some controversy. Well, not them specifically, but Hybe, because they've just been sexualizing these underage girls a bit too much, which I would agree with from seeing the concepts. I will say, first of all, I'm sure that Hybe, in terms of this girl group, let me just delve a little bit more into them. So they have Japanese members who can speak English. I'm so sure that one of these members grew up in America. There's always an American Korean or someone that, you know, lived in America for 4 years. So there's someone like that who will probably in the group, so that as it's kind of imperative these days to have at least one member in a K-pop group to know English. But usually these days, there's usually more than one that knows English. It'll be very interesting. I think Hybe is definitely aiming to, just with looking at these concept photos, they're really aiming for global domination with this group. I know that they all start off with black hair and looking quite similar, and then what happens is the members start kind of changing hair colors, developing their own niches, personalities and styles, aesthetics, and kind of become a take your pick in terms of, like I said previously about Stray Kids, that you know you can take your pick with which member you prefer the best. But yes, going back to my point about being highly sexualized, this group containing 6 members, it's just a bit dodgy with some of the concept photos or concept videos, you know, kind of like behind backside shots, things like that. The thing is, I'm happy that Hybe was called out for it. I think that that's good. I think it's good that things like that are flagged up, because then it will hopefully change Hybe's approach to promoting these members, because what you don't want is your group shrouded in controversy before they debut. So I'm sure Hybe is going to do some editing, some jiggery pokery. If they've filmed more things or have taken more pictures, they'll probably not publish or cut out shots that are a bit too racy, especially of the underage members, which is good. But my one issue that I had is that no one complained when Nikki, in Hypen's Nikki, who is still underage and was underage when he debuted, no one complained about Nikki's over-sexualization and treatment, especially if you recall, if you watch the Fever music video from Hypen. I mean, I think that was a little too much. That was too much, especially for someone who was underage, the way he was filmed and told to act. the angling, the cinematography, the way he's filmed, especially in a certain scene by the sink. You'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it. Feel like there should be kind of equal treatment. Underage boys or girls should be kind of defended equally. But I'm at least glad that the girls got flagged up. I'm hoping that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, and with boys as well. I do wish that this is just like a personal wish of mine, but it would be great if idols debuted at like 20 or 21. I think it would just help them kind of also mentally be more developed and prepared for the public eye and just what goes on with being an idol. I know that there was a lot of controversy with Psy's K-pop group because he was going to debut a 14-year-old, and people really complained about that. Oh my goodness, he wasn't even, was he 14? Tanaka Koki, who was going to debut in Psy's group Loud, Loud, he's 12. He's literally 12 years old. I know that people said that Boa debuted at the age of 13 and Taemin debuted at 14, but look at, like, especially someone like Taemin, look at his mental health now. I don't think it's healthy for people to debut that young. I just don't think that they're mentally capable and have developed enough to be able to withstand the public eye. I mean, I could make a whole video about kind of discussing why companies clearly like to debut people very young, because it kind of means that you have the product working and making money for you for as long as possible. You know, if you debut someone at the age of 12, for instance, with this Tanaka Koki from Psy's boy group, if he's 12, imagine what's two things. You get almost 2 decades with him working and making money. And also, definitely, if you debut someone at 12, I mean, by the time they're 21, imagine how good they're going to be. Their skills are going to be incredible because they will have had 9 years to hone their skills, work on their public speaking, their dancing, their vocals. So I understand kind of the younger you debut someone, the better they become while working. But I mean, you can also just debut someone a bit later and have them really train from 16 onwards and debut at 20 or 21. That's still a lot of good years training under your belt, and then you can just debut someone who's more prepared. I don't really see a problem in debuting someone a little bit older, but I understand that companies are greedy and, they just want their workhorses to start making money for them as soon as possible. I do believe with this Japanese member who's 12 years old, he won't be debuting in the group and will continue to be a trainee. But I know that I heard people kind of complaining because they were saying, okay, yeah, he's not debuting, but he's still training at the age of 12, which I agree with. He's still basically going to be undergoing a lot of stress, but these are the company's rules, isn't it? I do wish that there were more laws kind of protecting minors, because we can go on a whole tangent about talking about NCT Dream and just how young they look. I mean, I remember there was a montage of NCT when they were young and all that, and someone said, oh, it's so sad that NCT Dream, all their kind of young kid videos are just them in practice rooms, and like that's their childhood. So that's quite sad, but it does mean that unfortunately it's kind of like now when you see NCT Dream, you can see just how good they are. And I think it is because they've been training since they were just so young. So back to Hybe and the sexualization, it's fine now. Like, I think they'll correct it. I think they'll correct their mistake. Just speaking of NCT Dream there, I do want to give credit to SM for not sexualizing Dream, especially Jisung, for as long as they did. They did wait to give them more mature concepts by the time Jisung became an adult, and I think that's admirable that SM did that, because looking at these other companies, they didn't need to follow by that rule. So kudos to them. But yes, as for this girl group, this Hybe Girl Group, I think they're going to be a big deal. I don't think Hybe is not going to allow them to not become a big deal. And I think they're going to actually manage this group a lot better than aespa. I think their biggest competition will be aespa. I don't think anyone can dethrone Blackpink or Twice. It's not about debuting a girl group that will overtake Blackpink or Twice. I think the goal is to debut a group that can be the successor, the next generation, and be as big as Blackpink and Twice. I can see why, because, these groups are getting older, but at the same time, ageism is a bit ridiculous, because I think Twice have many, many years left in them. Your vocal talents don't disappear by the time you turn 30. And I think Blackpink, because they've released so little music, they have plenty of years to release more music. I think when it comes to girl groups, I'm not sure if they really want to. I think it's more like I'm not sure that they want to stay together. I think they do want to go off and do their own thing. Blackpink, for instance, I think Jisoo just wants to become an actress, so like let her be an actress. Lisa probably wants to be more of a rapper. I feel like Jennie could easily just go and model and like that be that, same as Rose. Or is she called Rose? Rose or Rose? And the same for Twice. Like, actually, interestingly, in terms of Twice, recently people found out that JYP had actually tried to patent an album title, like a name. Apparently, JYP have trademarked a name called NA/1 or first, something like that, which kind of shows you that JYP is working on giving Nayeon a solo album. Like, she will be getting a solo album, and it says the first mini album. That's the rumor. So JYP will probably plan on releasing more for her. I wonder if they'll do anyone else, but I think I think she's the leader of Twice, or at least a main player of Twice, because I see her so much. She's very present in pictures and things like that for the group. So I think she kind of represents the group. So she will be, well, and she has a lovely voice, of course. She will be getting her first mini album. That's the rumor. And I agree that probably happened. And JYP will probably give some more mini albums to the other members as time goes on. I think it depends so much on their contracts and who wants to do what. I think usually with girl groups, there's at least one that wants to go off and be an actress. So we'll see who that is, who that becomes. But, you know, good luck to them. I would prefer Blackpink to stay together and keep making music. I'd prefer Twice to stay together and make music. But I do understand that people, when they get to a certain age, especially after working for so long, I think Twice has been together for 8 years. So, you know, they might just want to go off and do their own thing. But I'm sad because it's like the end of an era. But that is also why these companies are in a panic to try and debut newer, younger girl groups that can kind of take over for when these established K-pop girl groups want to go off and do their own thing and disband. So I understand that, and I do think that this Hybe Girl Group is generating a lot of buzz, and I think that they're definitely going to be the big contending group against aespa, and it'll be interesting to see how they're managed. Like, I'm really interested to compare and contrast how aespa are managed and how this new girl group are managed. I really like the look of aespa, and I think that they're talented. They just need to release more songs that are like bangers. They need like a, you know how Blackpink kind of came out with, what was their most popular? Gosh, because Blackpink have so many popular songs, like even the songs they debuted with were so popular, like Whistle, etc. But what I'm trying to say is aespa, I know aespa had Next Level, but they need like another big tune, and I do wonder if this Hybe Girl Group are going to debut with something that's just like immediately going to shoot them off into stardom, or if it's going to be like a soft debut. It'll be interesting to see. I do feel really bad for NMIX. NMIX are the JYP girl group. Unfortunately, they came out with a song that everyone didn't like, which is really annoying on JYP's part. Why did they do that? Like, you should really make sure that a group's debut song is like really catchy, because you want that positive public opinion from the get-go. That's what JYP's done there. And in terms of one more thing to add with the Hybe group, I do believe that they contain 2 members from iZone, if that's how you pronounce it, iZone, IZONE, which obviously has already generated buzz for the group, which is great. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this girl group turns out. I hope that it's really catchy, their music. I really hope that they're great vocalists. That's what I'd really like to see or hear. And don't forget that Hybe has just so much. Hybe is like the Netflix of K-pop in terms of they just have so much money. You can tell already from the promotional material they're pumping in a lot of money into this girl group and all their groups. I think all their groups are doing so well because Hybe has so much money to throw around and put into production, which is great. I mean, Hyben are barely 2 years old and they're literally one of my top 5 K-pop groups ever. That's how good they are. And that is thanks to, obviously, due to their talent, but they are so talented and so good because they've been trained by great people who work in Hybe. Like, Hybe has put a lot of money into Hyben, training them, making sure that they're the best of the best and great at what they do, and then putting extra money in the way that they're marketed, they're paying for their choreographers, you know, the way they look, just making sure that their music's great, their music videos are great. Even their webcomic is really good. I've been reading it, and I might make a TikTok about the webcomics and go more in detail about which one's my favorite and what I'd recommend and why I think it's like a really good idea. I would like to discuss that, but that's for another time. And that's the end of this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you agreed with me, then comment down below, share your opinion or what else you'd like me to speak about in the next podcast episode. Hopefully I'll get another one out to you soon. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.